Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Sadh Sangat Ji, welcome to a very special show. For me personally, I can't really emphasize how much of an honor it is to do this survey, to present on this particular show and interview this particular guest, because I'm not going to say too much about what we're going to discuss, because I'd rather the person who's involved in it, who was part of this at inception and onwards, tells you more about this. But all I can say, it's something very significant. The magnitude of this can't be overestimated, really, and it is something truly historic. And sometimes you'll sit back and think, why wasn't this done before? Obviously there were hurdles to cross, but not only is it a great thought that these individuals had, it was something that was just waiting to happen, needed to happen, and is going to benefit us in a really amazing way on the world stage. So, not going on any further, I'll introduce you to our guest. It's by Ranjit Singh, and he's the Vice Chairman of the Punjab Football Association. So, Baji Ranjit Singh, please can you just explain the idea about Punjab FA and the reason it came about, and maybe just anything you want to elaborate on this, about what this is all about.
Okay. Vaheguru Khalsa, Vaheguru Fateh. This is a huge project.
Yeah.
And if I can give you the brief background behind it.
Yeah.
3 months ago, I was at the World Cup final.
Yeah.
Watching in Brazil.
Yeah.
Watching Argentina play Germany.
Yeah.
I'm a huge football fan.
Yeah.
And when I came back from that trip, I was approached by a very good friend of mine, Harpreet Singh, and he said to me some very poignant words, and those words were, "Are you proud to be a Punjabi?"
Yeah.
I said yes. "And do you love football?"
Yes.
And I said yes.
Right.
He said, "Come and meet me. I live in London."
Yeah.
So I drove up to Walsall. We sat down, had a meeting, and he explained his vision about an international football team for Punjab.
You're right.
And I was taken aback, completely taken aback.
Yeah.
And I said to him, "Is this even possible?"
Yes.
And he said, "It is.
Yeah.
I've researched it.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy.
Yes.
There are a lot of hurdles that we have to climb.
Yes.
But it is possible." And we went through and we broke through the steps of what was required.
Yeah.
But the visionary was Harpreet Singh.
Yeah.
And what we've done, and collectively between myself, Harpreet Singh, and a third director, Harjinder Singh, who's the General Secretary of Punjab FA, is we have created the first international football team that represents the Punjabi people.
Wow.
Which is a phenomenal, I think, a phenomenal achievement.
Yes.
It's obviously happened over a very short period of time.
Yes.
If you imagine the World Cup was just a few months ago.
Yes.
And today, and you know, you will appreciate this.
Yeah.
Today was the very first day for the trials.
Right.
We had fantastic players from all over the country, from Bradford, Leeds, from Dagenham, from all up and down the country.
Yeah.
Who took trials today here.
Yeah.
In Birmingham, in fact in Walsall, sorry.
Yeah.
And it was a huge honour. So this today was a momentous day.
Yeah.
And it's a first step for Punjab FA.
Yeah.
To really set itself on an international scale. Yeah. To represent the Punjabi people.
Yes.
All over the world.
Yes.
On a global scale.
Yeah.
And that has never been done before.
Brilliant. I mean, and I will tell the viewers that Akal Channel actually, as always, are in the right place at the right time. They have filmed those trials, so you will be seeing that soon. And just to add to what Baji has said, football cannot be underestimated. I mean, the fans number 3.5 billion, not million, 3.5 billion. When you look at China and places like India, they've only got 1 billion, but the fans number 3.5 billion. You've got 250 million players. You've got over 200 countries, and football is all around us. It's everywhere we look. It's in the media, on our milk cartons, drinks, cereal packets, petrol forecourts, wherever you go. Football is everywhere, and we have been absent from that, and these guys have put us on the world stage, and I have to say that's pretty amazing. So that's what you've achieved, and it's a historic event. It's the first ever in history, and it's something really we've all been waiting for, but we thought wasn't possible. You've made it possible. What is your organisation? How has this come about? What's the legal setup? What's the company formation?
Okay, so it's set up as a what's called a CIC, which is a community interest company. And we had a lot of legal advice. We obviously paid solicitors and lawyers to set the right structure for the company, because we didn't want to leave any stone unturned. And a CIC, in very basic terms, is a company which is set up for the benefit of the community. So any money that's generated, any profits that are generated, are reinvested back into the company and back into the community. It's a non-profit organisation. So in that sense, it's a charitable type organisation. The only reason we didn't set it up as a charity is because there are further complications with the charity which make it slightly more difficult. I actually run my own charity as well, and I know the complication involved in that, which why it wouldn't fit a football structure. But the everything that we invest and everything that we earn, all the sponsorship deals that hopefully at some point we will get, hopefully following this program as well, goes back into the community. And the setup is the vice chairman, which is myself. Harpreet Singh is the chairman, and Harjinder Singh is the general secretary. And in regards to the process that we've been involved in, it's been quite a complex and convoluted structure. It's not been a very simple process, but it had to satisfy certain criteria in order for membership for Conifer, which is the organisation which I'm sure we'll talk about in a second, and also it had to satisfy key criteria in order to be able to position itself in a place where we would generate maximum support from the communities.
Right. I mean, I have heard a little about of CRCs, and it does say the biggest advantage it has over a charity is you can use business solutions in a very positive way for the public good, and all its profits and assets are put back into the company for the public good. And more importantly, you know, when you look at it, it says it's normally run by entrepreneurial philanthropists. So, like, not only have they got the business skills, which you guys obviously have, you've proven yourself in your personal and professional life already, but it's just when you look at philanthropists, you know, the definition of that is the love of humanity, and this is a deeper thing as well. It's about bringing communities together, about raising respect for people of different cultures, in this case the Punjabi culture, bringing that to the world and sharing what we are about with others, and football is a brilliant platform, isn't it, for that. But you mentioned it's Conifer, so can you tell us a bit about that, the body that the official body you registered with? Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Sure. So Conifer is a, well, let me begin by explaining FIFA, which I'm sure everybody has heard of. FIFA is the internationally recognised world governing body for football, for states and countries which are recognised in international law. So, of course, England, Brazil, Spain, Italy, all of the games that you watch in the World Cup, that's in FIFA. You have a sister type organisation which sits next to FIFA, which is an organisation of footballing countries which are not recognised on international law. So, for example, you will have, for example, Quebec, for example. You have Palestine, for example. You have, I think, Monaco, Guernsey, Jersey. So you have certain countries or nations or states where, for whatever reason, they feel that they have their own identity within a larger country that they might exist in. So for Punjab, it absolutely fitted the profile. Because if you can imagine, in India we have 1.2 billion people. And, you know, if you look at Europe, which consists of, I don't know, 30 countries, let's say, with a population of just 350 million, you have a population nearly 3 times or 4 times as much, and yet only one country represents that state. The equivalent for Europe would be 120 nations. So, in that respect, Conifer was a perfect fit for Punjab. And Punjab was a perfect fit for Conifer. In fact, Punjab now is the largest member body of Conifer in terms of numbers, 25 million members. So that's why it was a perfect match. So in terms of footballing, a footballing nation, it was very, very key that we joined an organisation that could showcase Punjab,
right,
and the great talent of Punjab,
yeah,
as an independent, as a sort of an individual nation.
Yes, absolutely.
As part of a larger country.
Actually, that's a really good point you mentioned there, because like even if we look here, we've got Great Britain, but in there we've got Scotland, Wales. Going on to CONIFA, I mean, it has got 23 nations or communities that are members of it, spanning 4 continents. So it's a big thing. And the other one I was thinking, like you mentioned, Monaco. I know they've played other countries. I mean, Cyprus is also in CONIFA, and but like they've played other countries like, say, Gibraltar, who have just this very month been recognised as a senior international side and have made their debut and have been accepted by UEFA, and Sky and BBC have accepted them. So you're saying this is a stepping stone that can lead to bigger things, but the criteria for Punjab filling a national side is there, certainly in numbers, and the way it's so unique. But so it's the pride there as well. It's you're sharing cultures, you're bringing people together. And if we move on to the next one, then you know, but just before I say that, one thing I was thinking, we have got 2 bodies here. We've got CONIFA and we got FIFA. But in boxing, you got WBO, you got WBC, WBA, IBF, Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Amir Khan. They've all fought titles in all those under all those bodies. They've all reached the very top of their profession, which is like if is boxing, under all those different bodies. So in sports, there is room for more than one organisation. In fact, it's almost required, I would say, nowadays.
I think so, yeah. And you know, the great thing is, there's no reason why Punjab, particularly, against competition that it has in CONIFA, could not be the champions.
Yes.
I mean, you know, as bizarre as it sounds, Punjab could win the World Cup.
Yes.
You know, we have a World Cup lined up in, I believe, in 2016.
Yes.
With CONIFA or CONIFA, however you
sorry, say CONIFA.
No, you're probably, you know, I think I've heard more people say it your way than my way. So you know, but you know, CONIFA or CONIFA, and you know, Punjab with the largest population, with the support of the Punjabi people, which is a huge support. You know, unlike some countries like, for Gibraltar, you know, how many people of Gibraltar heritage live outside of Gibraltar?
Yes.
Not very many. But if you look at Punjab and you look at the demographics of where they live, Canada, Western Canada, British Columbia, Vancouver particularly, obviously UK, America, Australia, Europe, it's a truly international scale. Only purely on the basis that the Punjabis have emigrated to all of these countries in search of work, in search of better life for their families and their loved ones. So Punjab now has a huge pool of talent, untapped talent,
that's
which we can now do. So although our project has started today in Walsall, our vision is to go to Vancouver, to America, to Australia, and at the moment our squad is being built. These are the sort of the embryonic stages of this team. But there's no reason why in 2 years' time, or you know, sort of 18 months' time, we would not be able to not only compete, but win the World Cup.
You're there to win. I mean, the thing is, as you say, Gibraltar only had 600 players to pick from. Really, that's all they've got. It's just a rock, basically. But they're having programs made on them. They're the new kids on the block, and you want to take Punjab there, which has actually got a lot more support, a lot more potential, and that's important as well for us to tell the viewers. Although a set of trials took to that day, they should certainly not think they've missed the boat. This is to tell them more trials are on their way, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, today was just the first trial. And it was so heartwarming to see. I mean, I was looking through the players' lists. You know, we had the youngest player was 16. Wow. And he was just throwing himself, and you know, played with such passion and such a great player. And then I think the eldest was like in his 30s. You know, I mean, if I'm honest, I was kind of hoping a few people might drop out and I could jump in and play a while. But I think I'm past that, unfortunately.
Luckily, I'm not.
But it was it was such a fantastic organisation. But yes, but you're right. We'll have trials up and down the country. This is the first trial today. You've not missed it. You go to our website, punjabfa.com. put in your details. We'll have trials up and down the country coming through for the next weeks, months, and even up until 2016. I mean,
brilliant.
If you imagine the England squad.
Yes.
And when I was out in Brazil, you know, obviously it was unfortunate, but obviously I think they flew back when I was flying over there, because I was going towards the end of the tournament. The team's constantly evolving.
Yes.
You know, it's not. The great thing about football, it's not a static thing.
Yes.
You know, you have players, they progress.
Yes.
And then some players, you know, we lose them through injury or retire, and then they teach the younger kids to come through. So it's a constantly revolving the sort of platform.
Yes.
And when we were there today, the joy on the faces of not only the players but the parents.
Yes.
You know, I was speaking to one chap from, I think it was from Barking.
Yeah.
And you know, his kid played for, I think, for Watford.
Yeah.
He played for Dagenham. He played for lots of teams.
Yes.
But he never really got through to the higher stages. And I asked his father why that was the case, and he sort of looked at me. He said, "Well, sometimes the opportunities are not always there."
Yes.
And we kind of left it at that.
Yes.
But I kind of read into that what I meant. There were certain barriers, perhaps.
Yes. Yes.
You know, and whether that's because obviously he's Asian or whether it's because of something else.
Yeah.
But the point is, the Asians now, or the people from Punjabi heritage now, have a genuine platform where there are no obstacles.
Yes, it's true.
You know, if your viewers today watching this, and you thought, you know, I can play football, but you know what, it's risky. You know, I don't want to give up my career. Maybe I should become a doctor. The doctor's great, and we're not suggesting you give up medicine, but if you thought there wasn't an opportunity, then today that's all changed.
Yes.
Today there is a platform.
Wow.
So that's the exciting thing.
Right, and you know, who is entitled to play for Punjab FA, and you know, do they have to be Sikh?
No, absolutely not. So, I mean, it's a great question. The whole premise about Punjab is it's a non-religious based organisation.
Yeah.
Clearly, people from Punjabi heritage, there's a large majority, if you would say, from a Sikh background.
Yeah.
But one of the nicest things about today was not watching the games, but at the end, all of the FA coaches, and there's some fantastic coaches, by the way, which I'd like to mention. You know, we've got some coaches from Wolverhampton, from Walsall, you know, ex-professional players.
Yes.
You know, these people were getting paid a lot of money as professional players. They're now part of this organisation, so it's a very professional setup.
Yeah.
You know, we haven't got jumpers for goalposts. This is a really professional organisation, and we've had to source these people.
Yes.
At the end of the trials, they had a list, and they were reading off the names, and I had no idea. But there were so many names: Hussein, you know, Muslims, Patels, you know, and of course Singhs. Yeah. But when I saw the games, before I saw the list and I heard the names, I couldn't tell who was a Sikh and who was a Hindu and who was a Muslim. Yes. I couldn't tell. Yes. You know, apart from, of course, from they were wearing a qada. But for me, they played together. Yes. And when you look at the problems that we have, not just in India, but here, you know, Muslims and the Sikhs and the Hindus, and there's always fighting, and there's this and there's that. On the pitch, that goes. Yes. Nobody talks about that. Yes. Everybody there to play football. Yes. And the thing about football is that it wins hearts and minds. Yes. It's a great way of bringing people together. Everybody forgets their differences. Yes. What happens after the pitch, I can't tell you. Yes. But for those 90 minutes, everything goes out the window. So in answer to your question, no, you don't have to be a Sikh. Yes. What you have to be is you have to have a linear heritage to Punjab. So your parents must have been born in Punjab, or you were born in Punjab, or your great grandparents were born in Punjab, and that's it. And that's the only condition.
I mean, I was there at the trials today with the Carl Channel, but I have to say that the young men who came through, they all seem like really decent young men. You know, I mean, it's just the fact that because they probably had a footballing background already, they got that discipline. What I was saying is, the people who are coming to these trials, they're people of a certain calibre, they've got quality, and I saw that in these young men. For their age, they were very mature, they were very professional, disciplined, the way they listened to the coaches, but especially when they found their track record of these coaches and how they'd played in professional football, which the viewers will find out when they see that episode. But yeah, I think if you're thinking of coming to these trials, the people you'll bump into there, the people coming for the trials, the parents, you know, they're really like-minded people like yourself. So really, it's just to come into the trials, I felt was an amazing experience watching. What it must have been like for those young lads who actually took part in the trials, I can only imagine. But it's a historic event, and it's still continuing. So if we move on, I mean, this is, clearly a very ambitious project. I mean, to run just a football of a Sunday league takes time. You hear managers saying it takes time, it's commitment, even the players, the parents. But you're running a national football team here. That is, really, really must be really time consuming. So you've mentioned that there's 3 people behind it. And for those viewers watching now, you've mentioned how much time you've put into this, who's involved. How can they support this cause? Because they must be really, they must be really thinking, how can I get involved? I want to be a part of this. This is something new. And as we said, this is the Punjabi community coming into the #1 sport on the world stage, on the bigger stage, the national football stage. This is the first, and surely they must want to support this. They want to get involved. So how can they do that?
If you believe in us, if you believe in the project, we can only take this so far. We've invested our money, we've invested our time. We don't take anything back from the business. What we need is an army of people.
Yes.
And I don't use that term loosely.
Yeah.
If you're a graphic designer, if you know anything about websites, we need you to help us. If you've got a printers and you can help us with printing material and you can do it at a cost-effective rate, we'd love to hear from you. So whatever you think you can do, come and contact us. And if you don't think you can do anything, I promise you can. Email us at info@punjabfa.com and just say, what can I do? And we'll tell you, we'll help you. Because this is not about me, this is not about you,
Yep.
This is not about the directors, this is not about us, it's not about, this is about creating something that will stay for us forever, for generations. Because let's be honest, when people came from Punjab, we came to England and America, in many ways, on the one hand, it was fantastic. We created better lives for our children and our children's children.
Yeah.
And we can never thank the British communities and the American communities for taking us.
Yes.
But at the same time, I do feel as though our heritage became a little bit diluted.
Of course.
Because we left and we had, so we need to get that back now.
Yes.
We owe it to ourselves. Yes, people are successful, people have made money, people are successful in business, but we owe it to ourselves to maintain who we are.
Yes. Yeah.
And the one thing that we know we can do this is on an international football stage.
Yes.
People now, I've been doing a lot of not so much TV work, but certainly a lot of newspapers and articles and so on and so forth. And people are saying, Punjab, where's Punjab? What is Punjab?
Yes.
People ask this question,
Yes.
and I explain to them. So if you have an international football team that wins a World Cup or even competes at the highest level, that question will never be spoken again. People will know, Punjab, we saw you playing the other day.
Yeah.
Fantastic, such and such a player, great
Yeah.
player. But, you don't ask people, Brazil. What is Brazil? People know because of football wins hearts and minds, and it brings communities together. So, in answer to your question, how can you help us? You can help us in so many ways.
Yeah.
But just contact us. And help us, because we can't do this alone. This is just the first part.
I mean, you've said that like the top, and I think that we can't really underestimate that. I mean, for every young person, wherever I go, particularly for men in particular, but women now, they're coming along as well. But it's a very deep psychological thing, football. It's ingrained in every child's mind. And sometimes when you see, for example, Brazil, and you see the Brazilian supporters at the World Cup, you can see the passion they've got. And I have to say, sometimes I envy that perfect connection where when you're shouting for a football team, it's not just because you've picked that football team, it's because you, like you say, your roots, you're firmly planted in that particular nation, in that particular history, that background, that the past. You're absolutely connected, your parents, lineage. So you're presenting that for the first time. So what I'm trying to say is, we have our children walking around. We all know Brazil is one of the favourites, and then you've got Barcelona, but they still can't feel that connection. And so psychologically, when these children wear a Punjabi football shirt, psychologically, what message is it sending to those children? When they have these role models and they're wearing the shirt, what message is it telling these young children, who could potentially be footballs for the Punjab national. What message do you think it's giving them on a deeper level almost?
It's a fantastic question. I mean, you know, from a personal point of view, you know, if I can just share my experience, you know, I was a first generation Punjabi, born in Coventry. And you know, my mum worked in a cooker factory. My dad was a bus driver. Very humble beginnings. And I loved football, but I always found very disillusioned. And it's very difficult for me to support England. And you know, and it's very difficult. And I'll tell you why. And it's the same reason that any person who was born in the 70s or grew up in the 70s and 80s will tell you, because we grew up, and I'm sure you did as well, where you know you do encounter racism. You know, not sort of closet racism, but in your face racism.
Absolutely,
you know, graffiti on your walls. You know, very, very difficult time to face, I think, especially in you know, where I grew up in Coventry. So on the one hand, I love football. On the other hand, it's difficult to support a country that brazenly says to you, get out of my country. And it's, you have this conflict. So I think, you know, for me personally, I've always dreamt of being able to stand there, you know, with my hand on my heart, singing the national anthem, having the Punjab colours, you know, and being able to really support a team. Now, you know, the only team I support, because I don't really support England, although I feel guilty not supporting England. If you know, we're kind of caught between that that area. The only team I actually support is you know, and please don't take this offence from viewers, but it's Liverpool. So I know that this interview will be quickly ended.
Please don't get alienated by that. You know.
No, exactly. But you know, I do like a lot of teams. But Liverpool's my team. But to support Punjab. To say this is our country, this is our people, this is our, you know, however you want to describe it, that for me would be amazing. And whether or not we play Brazil is irrelevant. You know, Punjab playing Gibraltar would be the World Cup final. I would have traded in my ticket from Argentina against Germany for Punjab against Gibraltar.
Brilliant.
You know, and I would do that. Whether we've got a fan base of 2,000 or 200,000 is irrelevant. You know, I think there's a beautiful thing, and I think especially, I mean, the football tops that you can buy, they're for small kids. The motto of Punjab FA, is history is made. Live the dream.
Brilliant.
Because this has never happened before. It will never happen again, because history can only be made once. It can't be, you know, you can't make history twice. This is it. Today is a momentous occasion in the history of Punjabi people, and I hope, and I sincerely hope, long after I have gone, and long after we both have left us home, we will leave a legacy, and not just that, but the people who are involved in this project will leave a legacy. So hundreds of years from now, we will continue with that.
Brilliant. I mean, we've talked about the psychological there, but with these tops, with this connection, with this new era of Punjabi football, it's the physical as well, isn't it? I mean, the benefits of football, you know, the aerobic capacity, the cardiovascular, the endurance, the team building, the thinking on the go, you know, the psychological things. It helps you in your academic achievements. It helps you in so many things. This could change how much sports Punjabis do, couldn't it?
I think it will. I think it will. Because I think it's the first time there's a genuine platform for Punjabis to play. The first time. You know, without prejudice, without obstacles, without suppression or ceilings. The first time where you can go and play. You know, how many people love football, for example? You know, my mum loves football. You know, for example, you know, I don't think she would feel very secure, safe, going to Anfield or going to Stamford Bridge or Old Trafford or anywhere like that, because of course, you know, there's hooligans, and you know, you just wouldn't feel comfortable.
There's still that element that exists. It's still there a little bit.
To some degree, especially obviously if you're a little bit older and you're female and you're Asian. You know, you probably wouldn't fit in. You wouldn't. But how fantastic would it be if you could have, you know, grandmothers and granddads and people, you know, young kids, because it's a completely family environment. And I think when you have that, when you embrace that, you know, the support from the parents for the children will be something we've never seen before. You know, I think part of the reason why parents don't really encourage their children so much into sport is partly because they feel there's no end product.
Yes.
Because I think, well, you can play, but you're never going to get to the top because you're the wrong skin color, or you know, you're just not going to have it. You know, why don't you study? Yeah. Do become a doctor, become a lawyer, become, you know, and do that. And I think especially in terms of the dietary requirements, you know, unfortunately, you know, Punjabis, also certainly Indians, have one of the highest heart you know, failures in the world. Yes. Their dietary, you know, their diets are not particularly good. Yes. So, you know, on the one hand, you are creating this momentum where people can genuinely feel that they can aspire to levels that they've never had before. You know, not in a million years could you actually imagine that could happen before. But at the same time, you're making them fitter. You're making them stronger. You know, and of course, mentally, they become better as well. So physically, you know, physical and mental well-being are very much intertwined. You know, ask any you know, doctor or psychiatrist, they will tell you exactly the same. So you have now a powerful ability to encourage people to become fit. You know, we have a lot of diabetics, unfortunately, in our culture as well. So a lot of that can be eradicated. If at a young age you teach people about fitness. You know, I think, you know, just as a bit of a sideline, it's probably worth mentioning. You know, the Punjabi people love their food. I love my food, and you love your food. And I don't think we necessarily need to change the food too much, because we've eaten that for hundreds of years. But, you know, so I don't think it's very difficult, and it's not very practical to say, right, you should stop eating laddu, or you know, you're going to eat laddu anyway. But you might as well burn off the fat. And you know, and a really good example today, which really tickled me, was after the game, all of the players had samosa, which I thought was brilliant. You know, I thought, you know, I was there and I was laughing, and you know, I would just imagine Arsene Wenger at the Emirates with his Arsenal team, saying, you know, have your carrots and your celery and, you know, your calories. But you know, that's a great thing, because football is fun. You know, we can't get away from it. Yes, it's international. Yes, it's serious. Yes, well, hopefully one day, God willing, we're going to win the World Cup. But it's also, you know, if you have a 16-year-old and you say, you know, there's an education involved, but also there's a fun element. You know, one of the things that I said, because I spoke to the guys before they played, I said, go out, have fun. You know, because this opportunity may never come around again. You know, so go out, have fun, enjoy yourself. So I think, you know, the whole element of the mental well-being, the physical well-being, you know, I think this opens up so many doors.
Yes, brilliant. And I'd just like to sort of move on now to the quality, really, because again, like I say, we at our channel, we went to the trials today. And you mentioned not having jumpers for goalposts, but I thought it was very much at the other end of the spectrum. Some of the people you've got, I mean, I don't know if you want to mention them, some of the people you've got coaching, and you know, who have you got as your
We've got Ruben Hazel, for example. We've got, I mean, I think, you know, I won't spoil it for the viewers, because I know you've got the show after, but we have a lot of high quality coaching staff, you know, people with their FA badges, ex-professional football players who believe in the vision. And in fact, one of the, and again, I'm not going to name names because this will all come out, I'm sure, in due course. One of the people actually was invited to help support and to teach and to coach young kids, and he actually went away and researched Punjab. First, found out about who we were, the community, what we were about, what we did, you know, what our, you know, aspirations were. And then he went back. He said, it would be an honour to coach for your team. So these are ex-professional football players with their FA coaches, with their badges, and the facilities we have are fantastic. I mean, you know, you saw facilities there. These are high-end, top-end facilities where very, very high-quality players play. You know, and the quality of the players that came today, they're all well, not all they're current players playing for, in the majority of cases, you know, fairly high-level division teams. You know, a lot of people have had trials. I mean, one of the chaps had trials for West Ham United, for example. So these are not, you know, we're not, as I say, we're not talking about, you know, Mickey Mouse games. This is a serious organisation, and that's why we take this very, very seriously, because, and why we've taken the steps that we have to get the people on board in order to make it credible. You know, it's quite easy, for example, for us to say, okay, let's just get 20 or 30 guys together, let's have a kickabout, and that's it. But, you know, that's not what we're about. You know, we're very selective. We put, there's very strict time deadlines. There's very strict structure that you have to go through. We have, you've got to produce your ID, identification. We want to recognise your age, your health issues, who you're playing for, your background. So it's very, very, it's a very clinical process.
Right.
But the level of staffing, I was impressed.
Yes.
I was really. My only regret with this whole organisation is that it didn't come about 20 years ago.
Of course, yes.
My only regret, because,
with all good
and I don't think I probably still would have been good enough then.
Yes.
But I would have loved to have played. I would have loved to have played. In fact, maybe, and I'm not sure if I can say that, but hopefully one day we may even get like a slightly over, the veterans team, or in which case I'd love to play a part.
Yeah, I mean the thing is though, I would say to the viewers, even though this is the best person, the best man for the job, or the best man for the best position, if someone's thinking, don't be put off, because everyone who turned up, whether some of them are going to make the grade or not, they were all treated with respect.
Absolutely.
And it's a really lovely environment where people encourage each other, and the way the trials are done is in a team. So even if you think you're not, when you get there you think, well, I'm not the best, I'm halfway there or something, your teammates are really encouraging you. So it's a team environment straight away, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and and it's not just about technical ability. We look at all aspects. The physiological, the social, the technical.
Yes.
So it's not just about looking at a sort of whether or not a player is a good footballer or not.
Yeah.
How does that player relate to the others?
Yeah.
Are there leaders in the pack that we can identify? Are there team players there? And regardless of your level of quality, you have to come and try for the games.
Yes.
You have to be a part of history.
Yes.
You have to come and enjoy it. You have to. This is. This, I mean, regardless of what happens, regardless of the end result, you tried and trialed for your national football team. And I mean, that's a story I would love to tell my grandchildren.
And also, like you say, it's a revolving door. So if they come to the trials at the beginning, they may play for maybe a few matches, and when they attract more, okay, they might not get past after that, but they can put on their CV, I played for a national football team, which is a brilliant thing. And lastly, like, we're coming sort of to the end of the show. At the World Cup, just before the World Cup, they did a survey, and over half the managers of the World Cup teams were not of that nation. They were foreign managers, effectively. So you had German managers managing the USA, and Italian managers managing other people, and Chile, Colombia, Switzerland. They all had foreign managers, as it were. And you haven't got a Punjabi manager here, but is that because you are fitting in with this whole world scene of international football teams, where you're saying we want someone who's just going to be clinical, pick the job, no favouritism, best man for the best job? So it's almost like you've said for the manager, because with a national football team you have to have that sort of lineage, if you like, that that linear connection back to the Punjab. But for a manager you don't, so you've gone for the best you can possibly get regardless, and that's a bit of bringing together, because I was surprised at how much they understood of the magnitude of this, and how humble and honoured they were, even though they had such a good track record. That's what really surprised me, their quality, but how much they believed in it. And I was thinking, if these managers can believe in it, every Punjabi's got to believe in it, at least to that extent.
I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, if you look at the England managers, Sven and Eriksson, Fabio Capello, you don't need an English manager to manage an English team. You need the best manager to manage the best team. Of course, the Punjab football team, by definition, has to consist of Punjabis. But we, as I say, this is not about a small community. This is about, I mean, the Punjabi are the most generous, carefree people in the world.
Yes, they have got that nature, that reputation.
The seva that we have, that emanate, is known. It just comes from us. It's not something that is something that we have to learn to do. It's something that we're born with. So to embrace people, for example, we had black FA coaches. For example, we had a white referee. That's what we want. This is not an Asian football team for Asian players and Asian managers for the Asian. For the Asian community.
It's not isolation. It's actually, this is about doing what every other nation in the world is doing, having a national football team and bringing that culture, bringing that respect, bringing that joy through football to other nations, and being a part of the bigger football community.
Exactly right. And I think the important thing also to recognise is that by doing that, and by embracing the whole community, because when we have our games, we want everybody to come. We want English people to, so white people, black people, Chinese people, every culture, every race, every creed to come and support Punjab FA. Today is just the beginning. Today we begin with Punjab and with the Punjabi TV programs. But I'm hoping, and I've written to, for example, ITV News, for example. We're looking to go on to various TV programs at Westminster as well, trying to go through politics. So this is just the beginning, but obviously it begins at home. So fantastic. And if I can just say a final thing. Obviously, it was a very, very hectic day today. We went to the trials. I went back to Coventry, back here again. It's my mum's birthday today, so if I can just wish my mum a happy birthday, I love you, and
brilliant. So thank you very much for that. It's been an absolute honour and a pleasure, and I just feel honoured to be a part of this in some way, shape or form. But one thing I would like to say to the Sangat at home, Ranjit Singh, Harpreet Singh, Hajinder Singh, all the people involved at Punjab FA, with the Punjab national football team, have asked me to make a special thanks to Akal Channel. They're really grateful for everything Akal Channel done. This channel there's a habit with this channel. Where there's a need, they seem to start turning up. Je kise di baat farni hai, Akal Channel is there. Now you've got to remember, they're helping everyone. Let's not forget Akal Channel as well. Let's help them. Keep watching Akal Channel. Keep supporting Akal Channel, and most of all as well, do go onto the punjabfa.com website and support your team, Punjab national football team. Please support yourselves. So with that, we'll say, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.